Hey, it's me, your old pal Hunter. Let me lay it out for you. So I decide that I want to be a little more community-minded, and I want to give back to society, and I want to help my community. So I look around at the different possibilities, the different things that I can do to volunteer of my time, and I decide that I'm going to volunteer for the local community Crisis Intervention Hotline. Sounds like something nice, right? Figure I'm a pretty bright guy. People call in with problems and they need immediate help, and maybe I can help them. So first, it starts out pretty good. You have to go through 2 days of fairly intensive training. And I do that, and it's 2 days of 8-hour classes each day. So 16 hours in order to make me a qualified psychiatrist. All right, so I go through the training, and I feel pretty confident about my training. And then you actually do have to have an appointment with a counselor where they basically in an hour they attempt to psychoanalyze you. And they play these ridiculous and rudimentary psychology games. They have you look at Rorschach tests, which are ink blots, and you describe what you see and things like that. And there's nothing wrong with me, so I did very well. So then we come to the last portion of this examination of my psyche, and the counselor says we're going to play a word association game. So she says to me, say the opposite of each word that you hear me say. So she says wealth, and I say poverty. And she says joy, and I say sadness. And she says woe, and I say giddy up. Okay, so apparently counselors do not have terrific senses of humor, and I thought that would lighten the mood a little bit, and we then spent a half hour discussing why I was trivializing the word association game. This is for a volunteer position. I don't get paid for this. It's unbelievable. So, after going through all of that, they decide that I am worthy of being a volunteer. So I have my first night at the Crisis Intervention Hotline. And the very first call that I get, well, let me first set this up for you, okay? They have us in a room, and you're sitting in cubicles. And the cubicles are facing a wall, and there's nothing at the desk in front of you but a phone. So I'm basically sitting in a little cage, and I'm looking at a wall, and I've got a phone in front of me, and I'm waiting for it to ring. And not only does it ring, but a red light flashes. This is really bad psychology, in my opinion. I don't think that it sets the mood. I think they should have, like, soothing, pretty pictures on the walls and calming music playing, because I think that, you know, what you're experiencing personally is sort of the image that you'll project. And the folks in this room with me were feeling rather downtrodden at best. Okay, so finally my phone rings, and I'm so excited. I see it flashing red, and it's so exciting. So I pick up the phone, and, you know, Crisis Intervention Hotline, this is Hunter, how may I help you? And the person on the other end says, are you wearing panties? Putting aside for a moment the fact that I'm a guy and I don't wear panties, how is this a matter of crisis? Do people have nothing better to do? So I say, no, I'm a guy. I don't wear panties. The caller then says, are you juicy? I respond with, is your mother juicy? Click. Phone goes dead. A supervisor immediately comes over to my cubicle. I get written up for answering phones inappropriately. Okay, fine. Now, this is not the kind of thing where the phone is ringing off the hook all the time. It's a crisis intervention hotline, and it's in a particular city. So I'm just sitting there, and I'm thinking to myself how unbelievable it is that I've just gotten written up from the first call that I took because I lost my temper. And I'm volunteering my time. I could be home eating pizza and drinking root beer. So about 20 minutes goes by, and my phone rings again, and it's flashing. So I pick up the phone, and Crisis Intervention Hotline, this is Hunter, how may I help you? And there's an irate woman on the other end, and she says, I am furious, and I want to lodge a complaint. And I said, well, I'd be very happy to help you with that. What seems to be the problem? She says, lesbians are breaking into my home while I'm asleep, and they're rearranging my furniture. So I say to her, if you're asleep, how do you know it's lesbians? She replies, oh, you can just tell. All right, I had just recently been written up from my first call. I was not going to lose my temper. I handled the call very professionally. I told her the emergency numbers that she could call. I gave her the non-emergency number of the local police department if she wanted to report that people were breaking into her home, and boom, got off the phone, and okay, I got through it. And the whole time that I'm having this conversation, my crisis intervention hotline supervisor is standing right next to me, breathing hot, rancid breath down my back. So about 45 minutes goes by, and I'm just sitting in my cubicle, minding my own business, staring at the wall, waiting for the phone to flash red and take another call. And it happens. Flash red. I pick it up. Crisis Intervention Hotline. This is Hunter. How can I help you? I got a jumper. It's my first night. It's my first night on the Crisis Intervention Hotline. I got a guy on a roof, on his cell phone. He's going to jump. Now, I like to think of myself as a fairly patient guy. Pretty good sort most of the time. I was done at this point, folks. So I said, you are not jumping. Now you listen to me, mister. This is my first damn night on this Crisis Intervention Hotline, and you are not going to ruin it for me. Click. I get written up again. Second time. They tell me that has never happened before in the history of the Crisis Intervention Hotline where I live. I'm fuming at this point. I've been written up twice. They tell me I get written up one more time. Not only are they pulling me off the phones, but I'm getting fired from my volunteer job. I've had it. At this point, I just know I'm getting fired. No matter how much time I've put into this, going through the ridiculous counseling, the 16 hours of training, I'm done. I'm done, folks. So I grab a pen and a scrap piece of paper on one of the AA pamphlets, and I start writing out how I'm going to answer the next call that comes in, because I know I'm done. This is it. I'm never coming back to the Crisis Intervention Hotline. So I'm going to now share with you what I wrote. I'm going to read it verbatim. I have it up on the screen so you'll see my eyes move away from the camera. The phone rings again. I answer the phone. It's a breather. Perfect. That's all I needed, was somebody that didn't really have a problem. I answer the phone, and I hear just that. Okay, so I'm going to now read to you what I said. Crisis Intervention Hotline. This is Hunter. If you are compulsive neurotic, please press 1 repeatedly. If you are codependent, please find someone to press 2 for you now. If you have multiple personality disorder, please press 3, 4, 5, and 6 now. If you're paranoid delusional, don't press anything. We know where you are, and we're coming. If you're schizophrenic, listen to the little voice in your head. It'll tell you what button to press. If you're manic depressive, it doesn't matter what button you press. Nobody cares. If you're anxious, just start pushing buttons randomly. If you're phobic, don't press anything. And if you're anal retentive, please hold. Then I hung up. I was fired. Thank you.